beloved Star-Spangled Banner is the only one in the world that is also raised on another celestial body. Unlike most other countries, our flag is always visible all over the country. However, our flag has undergone an incredible number of changes over the years. No other country's flag has been changed as often. The flag we currently use is probably almost the 30th version, meaning it has been changed on average more often than every 10 years. The flag with 40 stars was apparently used for only 6 days in 1889. The Danish flag has remained the same since the 13th century. It has also been an inspiration for other Nordic countries. The flags of Sweden, Norway, Finland, Iceland, the Faroe Islands, and Åland all repeat the same pattern, which refers to the country's Christian heritage. The flags of these countries have not changed, even though the borders have moved. Now that 4 new territories want to join our country, our flag will experience changes again. Puerto Rico has long wanted statehood. Unfortunately, it's just a floating island of garbage, but we can, helpful as we are, finally accept it as a state. Greenland has also clearly expressed its desire to join us. It's hard for us to figure out what to do with that ice-covered island, which doesn't even have taxpayers. Its population is only 1/10 that of Wyoming. The majority of the population are stupid Eskimos, who only eat fish and seals, unless they themselves are eaten by polar bears. However, it is time to free them from the cruel Danish rule. Panama has also regretted the break in cooperation with us, and several parties have called for the entire country to be incorporated into the USA. There has also been information from Canada that their lives would be much easier if they were part of our country. A lot of them want to get rid of these left-wing, lunatic radical socialists who want to prevent citizens from having the right to bear arms, for example. And they demand health care even for those bums living on the streets. These communists even oppose the tried and tested death penalty. We can fairly easily grant Puerto Rico, Panama, and Greenland statehood, as long as they understand that English is the official language of our country. It is spoken even in Europe. However, some Canadians have chosen to use the ancient French language, which is still spoken in some European countries. This could become a problem. The easiest solution is probably to accept the entire country as one of our new states and oblige French or Mexican speakers living in both Canada and Puerto Rico to learn our official language. Canada is divided into regions that they call provinces. It is worth considering whether these individual provinces should be incorporated into our country as their own states, or whether all of Canada should be incorporated as one state. If all of Canada forms just one state, it will become our most populous state, which is not necessarily a good thing. It is probably safest for each of these provinces and territories to form their own state. An American citizen has just been elected, under very dubious circumstances, as the ruler of a small and economically troubled European country. This is clearly against our Constitution, and he should immediately hand over his country and power to a leader we have chosen in our honest elections. If we accept all these new territories as our new states, it means we have to add 17 stars to our flag. After this, our flag is starting to look quite strange and downright silly. It's time to rethink our flag. The European Union also has a beautiful star-shaped flag. However, the number of stars does not reflect the number of member states, but rather symbolizes the ideals of the peoples of Europe: unity, solidarity, and harmony. Could we consider whether each state really needs to be represented by one star on our flag? The fact that our flag has blue and red next to each other is a heraldic error. Blue also represents evil forces in our country, so it should be abandoned. The stars on our flag could represent the three-way separation of powers, checks and balances, as they say. The first star represents our president. The second star represents Congress. And the third star represents our judiciary. It is also worth asking whether we really want the stars to be white. White heraldically represents silver, while yellow represents gold. Of course, we could also do away with those white stripes. However, this would change our culture too much. Stars and stripes forever would no longer be believable. This change will only be made when China demands it. Let's make American flag great again,